This episode of Sideline Warning is brought to you by Roost Sport, makers of the original magnetic running pouch. Whether you're biking, running, hiking, or even traveling, the Roost Sport clips to your waistband with magnets for an easy, convenient way to carry what you need without the bulk of belts or bags. Visit theroostsport.com and use the code SIDELINE30, all lowercase, for 30% off their entire product line. Again, that's theroostsport.com, promo code SIDELINE30. And now on with the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Sideline Warning, the show where sports takes are sure to go way too far into the field. Here to recap this week's biggest and best sports stories are your hosts, Dave Adams, Ben Foster, and Adam Russell.
Everybody, welcome into episode 51 of Sideline Warning. As always, you've got the one, the only, the golden voice of the Southeast, Dave Adams, coming to you live and in living color from Harvest, Alabama. And as always, I have brought along my friends. But before I bring Ben in, let me get you into our Wayback Machine. Way back to last week when we recorded. This is a conversation that happened.
Any of these teams could beat any of these teams on any given day.
If Alabama falls on Thursday, you best believe your phone's going to be blowing up.
Oh, I'm sure it will be.
Hollywood Ben Foster. Was your phone blowing up on Thursday?
Yes, and I said it would be, so I was right. I also said any of those teams could beat any of those other teams on any given day, and I was right about that too. So I feel completely justified. I was right on two different points I made on the show last week. It's not easy being right.
I will let you have that small little victory because, you know, those are the only victories you get.
I mean, I've been wrong before. I think it was 2003.
No.
I think that's what it was.
No.
Maybe 2002.
Okay. How's Birmingham treating you, Ben?
Birmingham's good. I wish Birmingham would make up its mind what temperature it wants to be.
Yeah. Well,
Once Birmingham gets the temps nailed down, Birmingham's perfect.
Well, okay. You know, one place that always has the temperature down, warm and rainy. Somewhere near the House of Mouse, somewhere near Bay Hill, Bithlow, University, Tiltonville, Umatilla, Yeehaw Junction, St. Cloud, the home of the phenomenal brother, Adam Russell.
Well, hello there. How are you, sir?
I'm well. How is the weather down there? Hot and rainy?
No, it is slightly overcast and in the low 60s right now. It's actually really nice.
Well, that's not normal Florida weather. What's going on?
You guys gave us a cold front.
Wait, 60 is a cold front?
Yes. That's Florida weather.
Okay, yeah, that's weird. It was like 35 degrees the other day here in Alabama for a high.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I've been here almost 15 years. I've seen sleet one time.
Really?
For like 5 minutes.
Speaking of,
That's the coldest it's ever been.
Did you see the picture of Disneyland Paris today?
Yes. Yeah.
Snow everywhere. The castle's just white.
Yep.
Don't you just wish you could see that just once for Cinderella Castle to be that covered in snow and beautiful?
No. Not even one time.
You know what I wish I could see just one time? Alabama scheduling a cupcake and blowing out said cupcake. Because that didn't happen this week, guys. You're going to say 50-17, that's a blowout, but we were tied 10-10 at halftime. Triple option.
I thought it was funny.
Really?
Funny.
Yeah. You have a different definition of funny than I do.
The complete lack of effort, I thought it was hilarious.
Oh, that's because he was used to watching Alabama basketball.
Oh, that's right. That's why he's used to watching failures.
Yeah. Okay. I thought it was funny because I was just imagining all the things Saban was going to say to the team in the locker room. And if you stop and think about that, that's pretty funny.
So I've got a conspiracy theory. Every year, the week before the Iron Bowl, Alabama plays these cupcake games, and every year Alabama sleepwalks pretty much. I think, here's my conspiracy theory, that Saban tells his team to lay down the first half, kind of sleepwalk through the first half, to kind of look at the media and say, see, when you let them drink this rat poison, this is what you get.
He didn't seem particularly agitated in his halftime interview.
Right, and that just proved to me.
Yeah,
there you go.
But 561 yards of offense, 50-17. That it ended up being a blowout. It just took more than a half to do it.
Right, and that's not what we wanted to see against the Citadel. We wanted to see Mac Jones come in the second quarter. Now, I will admit, seeing Tua play without his knee brace was fun because that looked like the Tua we got at the beginning of the season. Ben, you and I talked before Adam got online. You think that was just kind of a look, Auburn, look what we could do, but the brace will be back next week?
I just think it's a little strutting. I don't think he's going to have the big brace on, not the one that looks like he's got a mattress wrapped around his knee. But I think he is going to have. I think he's going to have some sort of brace because no offense to the Citadel, Auburn's going to be a little bit more physical than the Citadel was. It's just a reality.
Probably so.
Will Auburn try to concuss our running back? Will Auburn do some clipping, some cut blocks? They're cut block you. Yeah, they will.
I do think part of the effort against Citadel was kind of setting things up for the media to not feed rat poison to the team. But also I think part of it is if Alabama has a weak spot, it's handling the triple option. And it's one of these years, Gus Malzahn is going to take that whole week of getting ready for Alabama, and he's going to implement a whole new playbook. And Auburn's going to come out there and run a triple option. In fact, this may be the year. My great fear is Stidham is just some sort of big ruse, and there is a shadow quarterback in the background that is ready to come out and run the triple option. There's been a secret shadow offense following this offense all season, stalking behind them. And now the triple option is coming, and it's going to happen this year in the Iron Bowl.
Well, Kelly Bryant is going to be visiting campus, or be at the game, is he not?
They have finagled eligibility.
So
that's
Bryant,
just Cam Newton all over again.
They have finagled eligibility.
Kelly Bryant is visiting Auburn's campus, not our campus.
Oh, okay. Either way, he's going to show up in a uniform. It's going to be a huge surprise.
You think so? I don't know.
Well, they don't have the bias and the conspiracy with the front office like we do, so I doubt it.
Look, the only way they would be able to get Kelly Bryant in an Auburn uniform for this game would be to somehow break the rules and everyone be completely aware that they are breaking the rules with their quarterback that is transferred to their school, and then for them to get away with it and not get in trouble for having a quarterback that has clearly broken the rules.
Oh, but that's never happened before.
And that has never happened at Auburn before. No. It is unprecedented. No such thing like that has ever occurred before. Definitely not in the past 7 or 8 years.
Are you
okay there?
Cam Newton, Bagman. Oh.
It's the weather. The weather up there in Huntsville is getting to Dave. I think it is the changes in temperature. He seems to be caught up with something there stuck in his throat.
Laptop. $180,000.
Wow, goodness.
Wow.
Jeez, that's
those coughs are incredibly specific.
Wow, that's...
make sure you get it all out, buddy.
It's out. Cam Newton. Okay. Sorry.
I'm not sure what's wrong with Dave. As they say, it's an ongoing investigation.
Go on, take the money and run. The only one that could ever teach me was the son of a preacher man. Okay. Anyway, if you get those inside jokes, you were at the game in 2010. Okay, so I don't know, guys. The triple option is an incredibly hard play to guard against. The only real D1 program that runs it is Georgia Tech.
And Army.
Well, okay. True.
Navy.
Real program. Come on.
Georgia Southern.
Real pro. Well, they ran through us like through a 10 hole.
The only Power 5. The only Power 5.
There's Power 6. Don't forget, guys. UCF claims the whole American Conference claims they're the 6.
We promised that we would be nicer to UCF. Remember?
I am quoting the commercial that came on during the UCF Cincinnati game, where the American Conference listed their teams, and underneath it, I have a screenshot of it. It says power6.com.
Okay. One quick note about Central Florida. I know we're trying to talk about the Citadel, But after watching Central Florida and how they handled Cincinnati the other night, those guys are fast. They've got some speed. I just don't think they could play physically with Alabama for 4 quarters. But if Central Florida was, say, the 4th seed in the playoff, and they had, a month to implement the triple option with those fast guys, I think they could make a game with Alabama interesting. I now think speed and triple option, if they had a month to implement it, UCF could make it interesting.
It is absolutely amazing to watch how fast somebody is when they're running past an entire team that's laying down. Absolutely incredible.
Oh, Adam. Let's get into that later. We're trying to talk Bama Citadel here. You're getting us off topic.
I'm sorry, my bad.
But I mean, it's hard to prepare for that triple option. But come on. Anybody that's played high school ball has prepared for the triple option. And it can't be that hard to stop. When you have 5 stars all over the defense, and you have a FCS guy running 50 yards without being touched downfield, I was a little worried about our defense, even in the second half. That last touchdown the guy scored, that was against our first-string defense. So my apologies I had made the last 2 weeks, I'm rescinding those because that wasn't the good run-stopping defense I've seen the last couple of weeks.
Well,
so what you're saying, Dave, is you're wrong.
I was incorrect about making those apologies.
And yet again, incredibly specific. I love it. What frustrated me about it, and again, I've never been chasing down another 250-pound man at full speed trying to tackle him with pads on, right? But what frustrated me about it was that it felt like we were in the right place, just slightly in the wrong position, and not really using the sideline as a 12th defender against those 2 outside plays that they broke for really long runs, right?
Right.
And it's like we were there, we were on the edge, but we angled for the ball carrier instead of trying to just get him out of bounds. And I think that's the piece that they can learn from that, where if somebody did come back and start running that again, it felt like we were usually in the right place, but it was just a foot or 2 off. The block hit in just the right spot, and we just couldn't quite get to it. So I feel like if we knew someone, and again, I don't think we would, but if we knew we were facing that again and someone didn't come out with a surprise, I feel like we'd be more prepared. But it is hard to prepare for. But that is this week's coverage of the Alabama game. That was almost like listening to what's going to come this weekend about the kick 6 that you asked, Davis. Every commentator talking about the Alabama Citadel game at the table there on SportsCenter, all talk, well, the triple option is very hard to defend. It's very hard to prepare for. It's very hard to defend. And it was just like a blanket excuse of why Alabama was tied 10-10. Whether it was intentional or not, we never should have been. Triple option or no triple option. Again, we have 5 stars on the field.
We got 5 stars. They've got no stars.
Yeah.
And I have respect for the Citadel fans because they came to this game. I mean, there were a lot of blue and silver in the stands.
Yep.
They turned out.
I was very impressed. I was not impressed with their coaching because it looked like their coaching was a little dirty. Here, I'm going to harp on it again. I mean, there were some late hits that weren't called. There were some cut blocks that weren't called. It was kind of dirty, and I understand these are sloppy players. They're not as well coached as Alabama players, but some of that was elementary, and I don't know why some of that wasn't called.
Well, the cut block's a legal play. You can cut block. It's just not a good thing to do, but you can do it because there's not a rule against it.
There should be.
And the cut block just seems to go hand in hand with what Citadel was trying to do. So
yeah. Well, that one late hit on Quinnen Williams, though, that was like the textbook one out of all the examples that should have been called. I mean, not only did he hit him after the ball carrier was down, he is flexing as he's running away while Williams is on the ground. I mean, it was so obvious that it was intentional that it's sad. And I don't know exactly, whether that's legal or not. It did feel a little bit like the officiating's just been wonky the last 3 or 4 weeks, man. Yeah. And it continued on Saturday.
I just hope
and then you look, and I don't want to get us off topic again, but then you look at Ole Miss Vandy and what happened at the end of that game where that touchdown was overturned. It's like, what in the world is going on with the officials right now? But
SEC officials need to do something. Steve Shaw is a great official. He's a great guy to lead the officials, but I just don't think that his knowledge is trickling down to all the other refs. I think that there are maybe one or two good refs in the SEC, and Alabama just doesn't seem to get them, and it's few and far between that we see them on nationally televised or nationally publicized games.
Yeah, I have very few SEC refs in my fantasy league. When I'm trying to draft refs, I usually pull them from some of the other Power 5 conferences.
Wow. You okay? Are you making fun of us for knowing some of these refs like that, or
no? I'm talking about the referee fantasy league.
That is usually where I'll go more American Conference heavy, is in my ref fantasy league.
Okay. Well, that's the only football talk we'll do. Okay, because we have some other meat to get into this week and some airing of grievances. I know you're not supposed to do that till Festivus, but we're going to have Festivus early, and we're going to air some grievances on this podcast today about our Alabama basketball team. The reason I played that clip earlier was because we were so sure that Alabama was going to beat Northeastern. And then, Ben, what happened?
Okay, first off, we weren't so sure. I specifically said in the show last week that Northeastern could win the game. That was even in the clip you played. So I don't think anybody was so sure Northeastern was going to beat Alabama. I specifically said it was a game that Alabama needed to play well in. And guess what? They played horrendously in that game.
I believe a direct quote from you on the text window that we always do was, "This is about the worst case scenario that could have possibly happened."
Yeah. Because you don't want to lose the first game in that tournament. Because the way that bracket's drawn up, you then don't get to play any of the higher ranked teams. And you want to play Virginia Tech even if you lose to them, because it helps your RPI more than playing Ball State and beating them. So, yeah, you don't want to lose that first round game. And that's what I outlined in the show last week. I said you really want to win this first one. Even if you go 1-2, that would be better if you get that first win against Northeastern to go lose to a couple of really good teams like Virginia Tech and Purdue than it would be to do any other kind of scenario. And sure enough, Alabama showed up and didn't show up in that Northeastern game.
I think it was Avery Johnson's strategy to have the team lay down in the first half. And then when he woke up and they were down by 11, he was like, oh, crap, we got to play basketball now. And it was just too much to overcome. He was trying to take a page out of old Nick's playbook.
Yeah,
not sure what kind of strategy that is. The real
strategy.
The team really struggled with Northeastern running the triple option.
Wow,
we struggled with 3-point shooting too. That was just
it's horrendous. And I'm sitting here looking at the stats. You, Adam, last week you were harping on Alabama's field goal percentage.
Yeah,
and then the very next game, the very next day after we recorded, 37.3%. That's unacceptable.
15% from 3-point land, 3 for 19. 3, 4, 19.
That's
just wanted to enunciate that one. But then Wichita State. Are we ready to switch gears and compare?
Sure.
Yeah, Wichita State
and Ball State.
Wichita State 9 for 19, and 51% from the field, like a completely different team.
Right. Exactly.
So,
but let me just read you a couple of direct quotes from our text, and this is something from me. And so, Ben, you can call me a fog all you want. For those that don't understand, fog is what? Football only Gump. Okay.
Football only Gump.
Yes. Here's one of, and Adam, on that exact same topic that you were just talking. My quote is, "See, this is what makes me mad about this team. We look like world beaters today." And Ben's my narrator. They did not look like world beaters.
This is against Ball State. This is against right. Ball State, where Alabama is shooting much better, but they are by no means world beaters.
Yeah. But yesterday we were down. Why can't we play with this intensity all the time? And they just don't, and that's what makes me the most mad.
Okay, so but they played with that kind of intensity in the Ball State game, and then followed up, 48 hours later, and played with that intensity in the Wichita State game. So you see one bad game and assume the team is bad, but then you see two pretty good games and don't assume the team's good.
Ben. The Appalachian State game, I will not call a good game. We won that game by the skin of our teeth. So I saw 2 bad games, and then
by the skin of our teeth. Alabama had that game won.
They had that game won just by the skin of their teeth.
Not by the skin of their teeth. They had Appalachian State handled.
Yeah, because of the free throw line. Which is part of the game, technically, yes, but only because of the free throws.
Yes. Hey, Adam, before we really get mad at each other.
Oh, we're not there yet? You guys look like you're already there.
No,
okay.
This isn't
I'm
happening.
grinning. I don't know who's mad.
Right. Before
Dave may be a little mad.
Before we really start going off on each other, didn't we have somebody call the Blitz line and talk about this very topic?
We did. Let me pull that up for you.
Okay.
Here you go.
What up? It's BK here. I want to bring up 3 things with you guys. The first thing I want to do is maybe derail Dave's argument on how bad the basketball team. Yeah, the loss to Northeastern is pretty bad. But hey, this is Saturday night, and Villanova just lost to Furman. So it's okay. All right? It's early in the season. It was in a tournament. Has nothing to do with SEC play. What we should be focusing on. Whenever it gets to SEC play and Alabama plays horrible in basketball, then we'll worry a little bit. So, Dave, look, I want you to take off your crimson-colored glasses and stop looking at Nick Saban and hoping for a basketball-like coach that has Nick Saban qualities or however else you said in the text. It ain't happening. Avery Johnson is the best coach that Alabama can get right now. The Nick Saban coaches in basketball, they're already at other teams and they're not leaving. I mean, do you think Coach K is going to leave Duke? No. Do you think Rory Williams is going to leave UNC? No, not in this lifetime. So, Avery Johnson has been a proven winner in the NBA, and I think Alabama is lucky that we have an NBA caliber coach and player that wants to come coach and recruit for Alabama basketball. So, Dave, calm down.
Okay, BK. Look, I love you, man. You're like a brother to me. But come on. Nick Saban colored glasses. Do you not think that Alabama basketball deserves, or crimson colored glasses, do you not think that Alabama deserves something better than what we're getting? Let me actually read you a direct quote from these text messages that me, Ben, and Adam send back and forth to each other. Look, I want to be wrong. I really do. But this is year 4 under Avery. And if this is what we see, I'm not convinced. He can recruit, great. But what can he do with the talent when they get there? And then then Ben says, no. If we lose this game, the best we can finish is 4th, blah, 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 blah. I said, right. We can finish 5th against lesser talent. That's going to have a lot more people unbuckled. The recruiting will only go so far. And if we lose to Ball State with the talent we have, I'm sure people will start calling for Avery's heads. And then that's when Ben calls me an FOG, football only Gump. I said, got it. Well, not only football only Gumps will be real basketball, but real basketball fans will start calling for Avery's head. Come on. With a guy starting his 4th year at Bama, shouldn't he have these guys doing better? We're not a young team anymore. These are kids that know how to play college ball. Tevin Mack's been around the block. This is John Petty's 2nd year. He's been around the block. Dazon Ingram's been around the block. Dante Hall's been around the block. Herb Jones has been around the block. It is time.
Dave read the entire roster. He then proceeded to text each member of the roster to us. That's what happened.
Well, okay, fine. Do you want to go there? The only person that hasn't really been around the block at Alabama is Lewis. And I'm sorry.
And he's played great.
He's played great. He's been the best of all of them out there, and he's the youngest kid. He's 17 years old.
So you say so Dave texts us and goes, I would like for Tevin Mack to play better. And then within a few hours, Tevin Mack has a 20-point game. So once again, the Dave Adams magic has come to bat. It worked for Nick Markakis. It worked for Tevin Mack. And I'm just saying, Dave, just keep it up. And this season's going to go great.
So is it safe to come out now, guys? I agree with Dave, and I'm afraid to talk right now. You're fired up there, buddy.
Dave's fired up reading his own text messages.
Because I'm reliving this madness that I had when I was typing it.
Yeah, so you have a ton of negative things to say after what was, without argument, a bad loss. but do you have any good things to say after 2 good wins? That's my question.
Well, first off, Adam, what were you going to say?
It doesn't want to handle that question.
No, because I've got more.
It actually. Oh, we have no doubt, Dave. We have a whole first half of the show to fill. So we'll get to you in a second. I want to address your question, Ben. I don't disagree that the 2 wins were good. And winning is the best deodorant, right? It gets all the stink off from Northeastern. And now everybody's like, Avery Johnson smells better. And, the team is okay. We actually rose to the occasion. I just, and we were texting this, Dave, too, right? I mean,
yeah.
I'm an FOG because we are an FOS. And
not that FOS.
No, FOS, football only school. I mean, to be honest, when I was there and we were going 3-8, football team was going 3-8. Basketball team was okay. They were doing all right and hold their own year to year. It kind of varied. Gymnastics was all we had.
Yeah, okay? And baseball. So now that we actually are winning championships in football, the rising tide, not pun intended, the rising tide needs to start raising all the boats. And we need to stop only looking at ourselves and doubling down and saying, well, success at football is all we really need. It's okay to be mediocre / a little bit good at other sports. It's time for everything to be good, because I was down here in Florida when Florida's football team and basketball team were both winning championships in the same year. It is possible. And it is possible to bring a coach in. You don't have to hire a Nick Saban. Just ask Georgia. All you have to do is find a Kirby Smart. So I don't think we have to go after Duke's coach. I don't think we have to go after anybody who's a big name right now. We just need to find somebody who has a higher ceiling than Avery Johnson has. That's all I ask. It seems like what Avery wants to do is a basketball or an NBA feeder school, because he's going after these one and dones. And when this G League thing comes in,
complain about us not getting one and done.
No. When this G League thing comes in, we won't get the Colin Sextons anymore. So Zion Williamson won't be coming to Duke. There will be less and less of those kids coming in. So we need a coach that wants to go after kids that want to play in college and wants to learn. I honestly don't think John Petty is going to be that guy. I honestly think that Dejon Ingram has been a failure. I honestly think that all these kids are not teachable, because either they're not teachable or the coach that's there is not teaching them.
I think they're teachable. I think Avery Johnson wants to win. I just think that we've hit the ceiling. I think, and I said this before we even got to this season, I think last year's performance of making it to the dance and not really going as far as, I think, Ben, you picked us all the way to the Elite Eight or Final Four in the bracket last year, right? I mean, you picked us to go pretty far. I think last season was the ceiling, and that's as high as we're ever going to get again. And I think an average season is making the NIT.
Well,
and if we all look at each other, I'll say it again.
I'm loving all this being on the record.
That's fantastic. Because if we exceed expectations, I'll watch every game either way. I'm an Alabama fan. You guys have sold me on basketball, because I definitely wasn't there around this time last year, right? But for me, I'm going to support it. I'll be a fan, but I'm just saying I would not be surprised if an average year was an NIT appearance under this. And if the three of us look at each other, and if Bama Nation looks in the mirror and we say that's okay, we're fine with that, then let's just be buckled up for what we've got. And let's not push for anything higher. But if we want more than that, if we want to be competing for national championships in basketball like we do in football, we're going to have to make a change eventually.
I agree. 100% wholeheartedly
right now
agree.
We are an FOS, and that's why you have a bunch of FOGs.
I don't think I like Avery Johnson a lot. I think he has put the program on an upward trajectory. Do I think he's perfect? No, of course not. But I think Avery Johnson has been great for elevating the program and taking the program to another level. Do we still have some more levels to go? Yes, because he inherited a crappy program from
who
else?
From
an administration that really wasn't interested in basketball.
You know who else inherited a crappy program?
One Nicholas J. Saban.
Thank you. And what did he do the second year he was at Alabama?
With John Parker Wilson.
Right. What did Nicholas J. Saban do the second year he was at Alabama?
What did he do his first year at Alabama when he lost to Louisiana Monroe?
But what did he do his fourth year?
So
We're in
so
the
this is
fourth
where-
year of
this-
Avery.
This is where
okay.
BK calls you again. And it's like, Dave, you're expecting Avery Johnson to be Nick Saban.
No,
And
I get it. I totally get it, though. Wait, I totally get it. In Avery Johnson years, if you convert basketball years to football years, 1 year in football is 4 years in basketball. Losing to UL Monroe, losing to Northeastern in year 1 versus year 4. So you have to convert it like dog years, right?
So what about year
So year
1 to
8,
year 3?
Year 8, when we actually make it to the Sweet 16, we'll be on the right trajectory then. Got it.
like
Yeah.
Got it.
like this is the ultimate football only Gump conversation. You've literally said, I'm going to take something that is anecdotal in the football team and apply it to the basketball team and make that the standard. That is exactly football only Gump.
And
Let me
Dave,
ask you this.
Dave, you can quote me from our text, and you can play the audio back to a few minutes ago when I said I am an FOG
Yeah.
because we are an FOS,
Well, let me
and
ask
that's
you
why
this.
I default to that
And
unashamedly.
Yeah, unashamedly.
I appreciate
Let me ask
Adam.
you
I
this,
appreciate
Ben.
Adam being honest. It's Dave being in denial about being called an FOG is the problem here.
No, let me honestly ask you, why do basketball apologists who are just thick and thin support the team no matter what, guys, which you are, do not deny it.
Yeah,
Why
I don't.
Why are you the collective you
The collective me,
The
me,
five,
myself, and
the
I.
five
Me,
bombs that root for Alabama.
right
me, myself, and I.
why are you guys okay with us not putting okay with mediocrity? Because if I am going to be this huge Bama basketball fan, I am going to put the Alabama gold standard on any sport we play. Baseball, we're horrible right now, but the Alabama gold standard is we win. Basketball, the Alabama gold standard, the A, not football, the A. The gold standard is we win. We are known as the capstone, the thing that the entire state was built on. So why in the world are we okay with mediocrity in the 4th year under Avery Johnson? It's time to fish or cut bait. And right now, it's time to cut bait.
I would say to that, it's because we don't have a winning tradition in it. We accepted it for a while in football, then we found it again, right? We had a winning tradition there. If we had a winning tradition in basketball like a Duke or Kentucky or somebody like that, it would continue. But we don't even know what that looks like. We don't know how to attain that.
We don't care.
Because we are, and always have been, a what? Say it, Dave.
FOS.
Thank you.
We don't even
So-
care because we have basketball fans. And Ben, I am not getting upset at you for this, but I'm going to really, this is raising my blood pressure a little bit. But we have,
I really do want somebody to get a blood pressure cuff. I really am about to call your wife and get a blood pressure cuff in there to check your blood pressure. I am legitimately worried about you.
we have basketball fans like you, our other friends, I'm not going to name them, who are okay with mediocrity. It took Alabama superfan Hunter Johnson a horrible year for him to get off the Avery Grant bandwagon. He was Roll Grant all the time until halfway through the end of his last year. I'm sure you were a Grant apologist until halfway through his last year when the rest of the world saw that Anthony Grant was not the right way to go. I'm afraid that because of all these rah-rah, we're buckled up guys, it's going to take a horrible bomb blowing up to see how bad this really is getting. Because the way Adam and I are looking at it, we're looking at it realistically.
Like football only Gumps.
Well, I'm sorry. If wanting better from the Alabama basketball program than what we're getting is make me a football only Gump, then yeah, I'm a football only Gump. If that's what is what you classify football only Gump.
And can I say really quick? Hang on, Ben.
Would you wait? No. He this was couched as a question and it turned into a 20-minute rant. So I want to know whether or not you want me to ever actually answer the question, or if you just want to take 30 minutes to ask a question.
Go ahead, Ben. Answer.
Okay. This is real simple. I'm not okay with mediocrity. I was disappointed with how the team played against Northeastern. I thought the team needed to have a better game plan, the team needed to have a better rotation, and they needed to shoot better. And then in the next 2 games, they proceeded to have those things. I think that's good. But you don't get a better coach than Avery Johnson by bailing on the current coach 3 games into the season. I'm not asking you to be okay with a loss to Northeastern, because I'm not okay with a loss to Northeastern. What I am asking you to have is a little bit of patience and some support for the team 3 games into the season. The team can't achieve anything if the fans don't show up. It's a cart before the horse thing. You say we got to have a great coach before fans can show up and support basketball. I say we can't get a good coach until the fans start showing up and put some skin in the game. We've got an athletic director finally that actually gives a care about the basketball team. And I get it. Football is always going to be the big thing at Bama, but basketball can get there. But it can't get there as quickly as football. It is much easier to rebuild football at Alabama than it is to rebuild basketball at Alabama. The program is on an upward trajectory. That's what I think, and that's where you disagree with me. And it's fine to disagree, but I'm saying be supportive of the program, because when you have all this negativity and you have nothing positive to say, there's no support there. And when coaches hear the fan base be like that, coaches don't want to come to Alabama. Our facilities are cruddy. We're getting the facilities improved. That's the administration buying in. It's going to take some time, but it's going to happen. The administration's made that commitment, but the commitment is not there from the fans. The fans aren't supporting this team. And I get it. If Northeastern was all we had to go on, there's not a reason to support this team. But if you have the 2 games like Alabama played to finish out the weekend, there is something to be hopeful about. And hope is what drives football fandom, because there's always hope for national championships. So why not take a positive for how the team played against Wichita State, who really is one of our basketball rivals, and be hopeful for that? If Alabama hadn't hired Avery Johnson, before that they were looking at hiring Greg Marshall. Guess what? Avery is 2-0 against Greg Marshall as the coach at Alabama. Could have been in a worse shape if we'd hired Greg Marshall, but it came out better because we got Avery Johnson. That's not saying Avery's perfect. I'm just saying things are good, and they could get better. And we don't know where this season's going because we don't have a big enough sample size.
Well, I would say that if I think, and Dave, correct me if I'm wrong in speaking on your behalf. One fog to another. But if
you're sending messages through the fog line,
it's exactly our foghorns going
right.
it's like a smoke signal, but with fog.
Yeah, but if you tell me that your vision as a bog, your vision for this is that Avery Johnson continues us on an upward trajectory, making it to the big dance becomes a normal thing, even if it's still losing in the first or second round on the way. And eventually, when the facilities get better and the fans have proven themselves, Greg Byrne will step in and say, Avery, you've done a great job getting the program here. Now it's time to go get a Kirby Smart-style basketball coach or a Nick Saban-style basketball coach. I will say long-term vision, just like the Braves front office, they had a vision. It's paying off. If we, though, say, oh, Avery made it to the dance again. He made it to the dance again. We did it one more time. We're on an upward trajectory still, and we get locked in that pattern of like a Georgia, where like Mark Richt, when they had Georgia, they got there, but they never did anything with it. I just don't want to get stuck. And so if we take this upward trajectory and eventually we take the keys from Avery and we hand them to the next coach who's going to be able to take us further than that and continue the upward trajectory, I might can buckle up. But in the next 5 years, I see us having the same conversation of, hey, he made it to the tournament again. What do you want from this guy? He's the best coach we can get at the time. Eventually that has to change. And I want to know, in your mind as a bog, do you see that happening?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's incumbent on Avery Johnson to raise the standard for himself and raise the standard for the program.
Do you truly think Avery can get us there?
Yeah, I think so.
Now, my question is,
I don't know so, but I think so.
If Avery got us into the tournament every year for the next 5 years,
but only the first or second.
Only the first or second round, and then a coach is available, or we finally have the clout to pull one in that can take us to the Sweet 16, Elite 8, or beyond. Would we fire Avery, even though he's not having a bad year, and hand the reins to somebody else? I don't think we would.
I don't think we would. We'd be happy with that ceiling.
I'm not Greg Byrne, but I think Greg Byrne wants to make money and win championships. I think that's what he actually wants to do. And I think, at that point, when you start saying, hey, we're hitting our head on the ceiling where we get into the tournament, but we're not making Sweet 16s or something, I think that's worth taking a look at. But I also think making the tournament 2 years in a row is an upward trajectory from where we couldn't do that at all during Grant, and we couldn't even do it during the time of the final few years of Gottfried.
We only made it once.
Yeah.
So we haven't made it 2 years in a row yet.
That doesn't mean that's the goal. That just means that's a short-term mark of progress. That's a mile marker to say, hey, we might be moving in the right direction.
And
might
look,
be, because there's no way to know.
You made an accusation of me and Adam, probably, in your rant that we don't support the players at all. You basically said you don't support the players. Let me reiterate what I said to you on Thursday night in text form. Here's the deal. I support the players. To an extent, I even support the coaches. But I refuse to support lack of growth. And that's squarely on the coaches' shoulders. It's the same thing I said last year. It's the same thing I said this year. It's the same thing I'm going to say over and over. We see no lack of growth in the coaches. We see no lack of growth in these players. So to have growth in these players, you have to have coaches that can teach these players. And Avery is not doing a good job teaching these players. I support the 17 to 22-year-olds that are there at Alabama because they wear crimson. I salute you. You are my basketball team. But I refuse to support mediocrity in coaching and supporting and growth supporting.
So we last year, you mentioned this guy earlier in the show. His name's John Petty. You said earlier in the show, look, I don't think John Petty's the guy. You just said that a few minutes ago.
I don't think he is. I support him as a person.
You support him. So essentially, the threshold to be supportive of a basketball player is to not wish murder upon them, but to say they're not the guy, you're still supportive. John Petty is getting points on the road. He hit 3-pointers. This is something you were vastly critical about, and rightfully so last season, that John Petty couldn't hit threes on the road. He couldn't hit threes outside of Coleman Coliseum. And, he hit a 3 in the Ball State game. He had several threes in the game against Wichita State that were pretty critical. So that to me is a sign of growth. That's the sign of a guy being teachable. I've seen John Petty be more patient, look around for passes instead of just firing up threes that didn't fall. I think that is signs of growth. I think if you talk to a lot of people that have watched the games and watch them with an open mind, they would say Petty is playing differently and playing better because he is being better at passing, looking for other options. I also like that Petty has taken times to drive in and take twos instead of just firing up threes. I think he's actually expanded his game. And I'm just using that as an example. You say there's no growth. I see signs of growth with a guy like John Petty. I see signs of growth with a lot of players, but I'm going to pick out John Petty because you said, I don't think he's the guy, but then you're also claiming you're supporting him.
Okay. If that's what you want to say.
He shot 50% from 3 against Wichita State. That's Wichita State, a team that plays great defense. He's playing in a neutral court gym. He's playing a road game. Wichita State traveled better because Wichita State has a better fan base than Alabama does. Let's be honest, they do. Wichita State's fans are there. They're chanting. They're making lots of noise in Charleston. It's a road game. And Petty shoots 50% from 3.
I'm so glad.
That's a sign of growth.
I'm so glad you brought up Wichita State. I'm so glad. Because we were so excited. Alabama's playing well. Alabama's up by 15. I turned it off for a second because it's Sunday afternoon. I wanted to close my eyes. I turn it back on, and oh my gosh, Alabama has let Wichita State back in the game. So what happened, Ben? If this team is growing, if this team is so good, why do we let our foot off the gas? Why do we let Wichita State come back into this game?
That is a game where Alabama shot, I think, 60% in the first half. There are virtually no teams that are going to maintain that over 2 halves. They built up a lead, and then they played good defense in the second half and held off Wichita State. That should be something to be proud of. That is a game where Alabama would have folded last year and lost that game. That's a sign of growth. They held on to a game and won in a game that they definitely would have lost last year. I think that is something Alabama would have lost. And also, it's a sign of growth that Alabama had 5 different guys scoring double digits. Or, I'm sorry, 4 in the Wichita State game, I think is what it was. Alabama had 1, 2, 3. Yeah, they had 4 different guys scoring double digits. And I think that's a sign of growth because last year, so much of everything had to run through Colin Sexton that the team was standing around. But this year, you've got guys that can step up and score. Kyra Lewis had 24. Petty had 13. Herbert Jones had 13. Herbert Jones was hitting threes. He's part of what got Alabama off to a good start against Wichita State was Herb hit 2 threes in the first 4 minutes of the game. That got Alabama a lead built up that Wichita State was never able to fully come back on. So yeah, that's a sign of growth because Herbert Jones wasn't hitting threes to start off games. He wasn't even taking those shots. He wasn't even starting. Those are signs of growth. And you say there's no growth because you're not taking the time to actually look at this team and see what they're doing.
This is one subject that you and I will never agree on. It's going to be fun to watch a basketball game live with you here in Huntsville in a couple of weeks.
I cannot wait. Hey, seriously, speaking of people supporting the team, I've got to ask, Adam, Bama is in Orlando next week playing UCF. Are you going to be there?
I don't know if I can tolerate being around UCF people that long.
Hey, UCF says they won't
UCF.
Bama. UCF says they won't Bama. They're getting Bama.
Just please let's win this time.
They beat us
Please.
last time.
Yes, please this time. I honestly just don't know if I could stomach it. I have to say though, Dave, I think we have been. You may say that you never agree and leave it at that. I have to say we've been vanquished. I'm sorry. I even threw my best fog tactic at Ben of talking about this season and then jumping to, well, what about 5 years from now? And he still deflected it. So I have to say I may not be buckled, but I'm considering it. How about that?
Okay,
I have to.
Look.
I have to. He makes solid points. We have to sit here. We are the voice of. We are one of the voices. Tim Brando would say that he disagrees, but we are one of the voices of our fan group of Alabama. And if we're sitting here deriding these people and saying they're failures and they're not teachable, it's not going to help.
Well, for me saying they're failures, that's the good luck kiss.
That's magic.
Now, you said not teachable. That's different.
Okay.
Well, no, that just means in practice this week they've learned more than they ever have.
Right. No, I'm not buckled yet because I still don't. We got to get to SEC play and see how it pans out there, right? I mean, we have to see. But I can't. I think my problem I'm facing right now, Dave, one fog again to another smoke signal here.
Right.
Is if I'm unbuckled now when we start to do well, we can't come back and say we're buckled up when we start winning games in the SEC.
We won't win
because
games
then
in
we're
the SEC this year.
I'm just telling you, man, when it starts going really good, don't be all a roll tide and all over us on the podcast.
Adam, I appreciate you in November having an open mind about where this season could potentially go.
Look,
I will look. I was critical of the team after Northeastern. If this season really goes down in the dumps, I will be critical of how the team has performed. I won't quit on the players, but I'll be critical of how the performance goes, because I think this team should be aiming for the 20-win neighborhood and trying to make the tournament. All right, but look, you guys deserve the last word. It is fair to want to think about other coaches. So give me a name, just one name each of you. You're the athletic director today, and Avery Johnson's not in the picture. Who would you go hire? Just give me a name. I will not argue with it, good, bad, or otherwise. Dave?
I'm sitting here racking my head.
It's got to be realistic, though,
right,
or I'll call you out.
That's the thing. I'm racking my head. I don't know basketball as well as I know football. I will give you that. When it comes to the coaching names, I know the big names. I don't know the guy that's out there right now. But we didn't think Avery Johnson was going to be a realistic expectation. So why can't we go, search after somebody that's an assistant coach in the NBA right now who wants to come back and do college? Why not? I don't know the name. I don't know who to go after. Luke Walton's not doing great at the Lakers. Why don't grab him?
Okay, Dave says Luke Walton.
Why not?
I've already said mine on a previous episode of our podcast. Does anybody remember who I said I think we should
you said
hire?
Richard Pitino, but I don't like that idea.
No, there's no argument.
I know.
That was what we said. I've already named mine. So
I think Rick Pitino could be the basketball coach after he has a year as an offensive analyst for Nick Saban.
I love it. I love that idea.
He has to go through the coach's school of rehabilitation.
Hey, why not?
And I've found a way to bring football back into the conversation, which either makes me a football only Gump, or I'm making a good segue for us to talk about the Auburn game later in the show.
I think you're making a good segue, but you know, something else that we can, I don't know. There's no way to, I'm just, yeah, this has got my blood pressure going. I need to go for a run, but I guess I guess the only thing I can do right now is talk about my running habits and talk about my Roo Sport pouch. Adam, how can I go get a Roo Sport?
But Dave, isn't it so nice to know that you have something that you can just take with you and have everything? Doesn't it take the stress out of running?
It does.
Knowing that you can fit everything you need in a convenient Roo Sport pouch that clips to your waistband with magnets for a convenient way to carry everything you need without the bulk of belts or bags.
It really does.
See,
it makes me buckled up for Roo Sport.
So look how calm he already. Look how calm he is. Already.
Nothing is more soothing than thinking of Roo Sport and going for a run, or even thinking about taking a break in a Roo Lounger.
Oh yeah. Oh, you got that right, Ben.
And then you have the peace of mind that comes with knowing that you have one of the battery packs that they sell, that you don't have to worry about your phone dying. See, aren't we good, guys?
We're good now. Look.
Now this is the moment.
The key to low blood pressure. This is not a medical opinion, but it just seems like the key to low blood pressure is to get Roo Sport products.
Roo Sport is not intended to treat or cure any disease. So right now is the moment when we're calm. Our listeners have now picked up on this vibe. Now's the moment to visit www.theroosport.com. Shop their entire product line. Find the color, the size, the product you need, and enter the code SIDELINE30, all lowercase letters with the number 30 at checkout for 30% off. That even takes financial stress out of the transaction.
Man.
And we have reached Nirvana.
You sounded like Delilah there for a second.
I was going for a Delilah Bob Ross matchup. Didn't work.
I think that's the first time on our podcast that Delilah and Bob Ross has been mentioned.
And it was all at the same time. Who knew?
Wow. All right. There you go. Roo Sport. Get your woosah on. So the last half of the show, it's really just, it's going to be fun. Let's kick it off with Kyle's key stat of the week.
Hey guys, it's Kyle here with your stat of the week. We're looking at the number 0. It's almost the end of the college football season and Alabama still has 0 losses. But everybody knows about that. And everybody knows that at the end of the first half, the Citadel was tied with Alabama 10-10, which means for the first time this season, Alabama had a lead of 0 going into the second half. Another incredible stat, for the first time since 1988 against the Army, Alabama's opponent had 0 passing yards, 0 completions by the end of the game. I was really hoping this stat would be 0 pass attempts, but the Citadel did attempt 2 passes, both of which fell incomplete. Also 0. Now the number of quarterbacks ranking ahead of Tua Tagovailoa in the number of touchdowns passed during a single season. Congratulations to him. He's moving on up. That record will stand, I believe, until next season when Tua breaks his own record. Another 0. Now my confidence of Alabama when we attempt to kick a PAT. I don't think we should do it. I'm on the go for 2 bandwagon every time. Let's do it. Let's get those points on the board and keep another 0 stat active. 0 times since Nick Saban has been at Alabama has Auburn beat Alabama in back-to-back seasons. It's never happened, and I'm not looking for it to happen this week. Roll Tide, guys. Let's go beat that Cal College.
You know, I like that key stat. I like the number 0, but I'm hard pressed to say he kind of made it a point to where he's leaning to the point to where he say there's 0% chance that Alabama loses to Auburn. I can't say there's 0% chance that Alabama loses to Auburn.
Please
because
don't.
Yeah, that it can happen. Alabama could be 11-0, Auburn could be 0-11, and they can beat us. But so let's talk about the polls real quick right now, because this kind of ties into all of this stuff. The polls were announced. Top 8 didn't change, which I agree with. UCF jumps in there, top 9. A disaster scenario we could see where UCF, kind of with a disaster scenario, comes in and beats and makes it to the top 4. Adam, didn't we get a call today about a disaster type scenario?
Yeah, just how the playoffs could play out. Yeah. Let's play that one here.
Let's go and get that play.
Hi guys, this is Virgil Russell again. Another great podcast, a lot of great topics, and a lot of good interaction between you guys. One particular was your outcome of the Final Four dance going in. Some great insight from everybody. But let me give you an old school version of how I think it's going to wind up. Of course, Alabama wins out. They'll stay number 1. Clemson wins out. They'll stay number 2, simply because of what I call college football politics. Nobody's got the guts to move them. And Notre Dame wins out, and they'll stay number 3. But now it comes down to Michigan. Michigan will lose to Ohio State at Ohio State, because it's hard enough for Harbaugh to beat Ohio State, let alone at Ohio State. Then, of course, Georgia loses to Alabama in the SEC championship game. And then you come down to Oklahoma. They will lose to West Virginia at West Virginia. I think the crowd's going to be too much for them, and I think the team it won't be a widespread score, but I think they'll have enough to beat them. Then when it comes down to all the voting and everything, West Virginia will jump LSU, and they'll jump Washington State. No matter what those two teams do, the college football politics will jump them over and get West Virginia into the 4th slot. Now, our most talked about and our favorite team, UCF, they again will end up, I think, at number 8, undefeated, with back-to-back SAC awards. And the SAC is, of course, the self-acclaimed championship. I mean, they claimed themselves as champions last year, and they'll do it again this year. Pumpkin Chunkin organization out of Delaware. What would be the 32nd annual Pumpkin Chunkin this year, still hung up in legal litigation due to one of the producers being injured by one of the Pumpkin Chunkin catapults in 2016. So, again, just give them a nice shout-out. Wish they could wind up and get back to chunking pumpkins. See you guys.
Well, I, for one, have to agree with one Virgil Russell. Pumpkin chunkin is not a sport we cover enough on this podcast. And I think that we've got to do a little bit more to have coverage. Especially our coverage was lacking in the number 1 most pumpkin-friendly month, October. Why is that the most pumpkin-friendly month? Because that's the month Alabama plays Tennessee. And we should have been talking more about pumpkin chunkin' ever since the 3rd Saturday in October. And so Virgil, on that point, I completely agree with you, and I apologize for our lack of pumpkin coverage.
I think we need to have a whole segment with Dave on, is pumpkin chunkin' a sport?
Oh, Lord.
That's probably one we could talk with you, Dave.
No.
It's still real to me, dang it.
I mean, the outcome is not scripted. So
let's get into the meat of his call.
It's got a catapult, which requires much more athletic skill than NASCAR.
This show is going down.
And more engineering skill. No, it's not. It's going uphill like a catapult. It's on an upward trend like Alabama basketball.
It's on an upward trajectory just like Alabama basketball. Also, if you're using a catapult, you should probably buckle up.
Are you done?
I think he also talked about football in his call. I think.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Now I'm really worried about Dave's blood pressure. Dave, would you like to speak? Dave, would you like to bring us back to some football points?
Yes, I would, because his main point of this call was chaos theory. And I kind of...
That's why we were trying to inject some chaos into this podcast.
Which you've done it. Good grief. Are y'all just got turkey on the mind already?
Yes.
Okay.
Gobble till you wobble.
I can believe that with you, Ben.
You're making him wobble right now too, Ben.
Okay, so his chaos theory, I kind of like where he went, except I really do think that there's a chance that West Virginia does beat Oklahoma, but I don't think that West Virginia wins the Big 12. I think Texas will win the Big 12. West Virginia, Texas, because if West Virginia beats Oklahoma, Texas and West Virginia will play for the Big 12. I think Texas will win that game. So Oklahoma's out, West Virginia's out. He says the Pac-12 is out, which I agree with.
But why is Oklahoma out? You have a 9-2 LSU sitting there at number 7.
Anybody that wins their conference will jump LSU. I don't get the love affair with LSU.
I don't either.
I mean, they lost to Florida, and Florida is below LSU. I honestly, y'all are probably going to jump down my throats. I see no reason to put UCF lower than 6.
I agree.
Lower than 6.
Honestly, I mentioned it earlier. Their speed is phenomenal, and in a world where everybody else is not getting the job done, sure, why not put UCF in the 6th spot?
And if UCF,
go ahead, Dave.
And if UCF is at 6 right now, no chaos series needed. Michigan loses to Ohio State. Georgia loses to Alabama. Look who's number 4.
And I think that number 9 ranking is probably a message that you have so much chaos that has to happen above you and you still probably wouldn't get in. Schedule somebody, play some teams like these other teams above you are playing. I don't think they can get in at this point. I think they're ranked 9 for that very reason, to make that statement. But for me, I mean, I can't see them being below LSU at this point. But when you don't have a good litmus test with UCF, you don't have a team that anybody else up there plays at the caliber of who they play until this Cincinnati game. And honestly, Cincinnati, looking at their offense and the way they played against UCF's defense is not that good.
No.
Cincinnati should not have been ranked. The only reason Cincinnati was ranked was for the style points of having the 2 ranked teams playing on ESPN or ABC at 8 p.m. on a Saturday night. I mean, that's probably the main reason they were there. But
wait. Are you saying there's a conspiracy theory?
Oh, yeah, it's all over. There's conspiracies everywhere. Have you heard about the one in the SEC? We can talk about that later. But but no, I think if my question is Michigan loses to Ohio State, Ohio State's going to go on at that point and win their conference. Do they jump everybody and take the 4th spot?
No, because they have too many losses.
They have 1 loss.
Michigan State only has 1 loss?
No, Ohio State.
No.
If Ohio State beats Michigan and they win their conference, do they jump everybody? Because they're a 1 loss with the conference championship.
That Purdue loss will keep them below everybody. That Purdue lost by 27 points. That's not good. That looks horrible, and you can't do that. The reason that they're below UCF right now is because of that Purdue loss, and I think that's the playoff committee sending a message to Ohio State. You cannot get in anymore because you have that bad loss to Purdue.
Okay, so Ohio State, let's say they beat Michigan. Michigan drops. They're a 2-loss team.
Right.
They should not, at that point in theory, drop any further than LSU is, right?
In theory.
In theory. So Ohio State would at least jump to a 6-7 spot, somewhere in there. Would you guys agree with that?
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Okay.
Makes sense,
Georgia's going to lose. Georgia's going to lose, so they drop. That moves Oklahoma up into the 4th. So Oklahoma would have to win to keep Ohio State out in that point, right?
Unless Washington State wins out, and they've
but
only
Washington State lost to USC, guys. USC. That's just, even if it was only by a few points, that's just as bad as the Purdue loss.
Yeah.
I mean, just as bad. So I don't know. I think it's perfectly feasible that any of the top 10 teams, except LSU and except UCF, could end up in that 4th spot with the right amount of chaos.
I still say with the right amount of chaos theory, UCF can make it. And that is contrary to what I said 3 or 4 weeks ago on this very show.
Yeah.
I think we are looking at a possibility now of UCF maybe making it with just enough chaos theory.
So now I've got to ask, I think we're in agreement. It is in the realm of possibility that if everything fell the right way, UCF could be in the playoff 4. do you guys want to see UCF in the playoff 4? Are you rooting for chaos? That's what I want to know.
So here's the deal. I know that we made friends and we made nice with UCF over the weekend on Twitter. I want UCF in the college football playoff because I want them to basically do the same thing I said to Avery Johnson. Fish or cut bait.
Yep.
Crap or get off the pot. If you want to be named up there with the big boys, come play with the big boys.
Well, and the problem is if they don't make it into the playoff, most likely at this point, assuming everybody wins out, or at least the two of these teams went out, they're going to play a 9-2 LSU team. And LSU is going to come in having nothing to win for, nothing to really play for, the exact same scenario as last year. And basically, UCF is going to be in a position for the next 3 years to pick off the also-ran of the SEC.
Right.
Every single year. So I would rather that they were in or move to a bowl where they actually have to play an Oklahoma or a Georgia or a Washington State instead of the third team out in the SEC.
Let them play in a New Year's Six bowl.
Well, they would be right now, right?
Right.
Against LSU.
Well, no, let them.
Yeah, most of what I've seen, they'd be up against LSU or a Florida, depending on circumstances.
But you've got the Rose Bowl has to be what it is, right? So the only other option is the Sugar Bowl.
Or the Peach, because they played in the Peach last year. The AAC winner goes to the Peach, I think. If they're in the top.
Well, they've got them slated for. I would love to see them play in the Sugar Bowl against either Oklahoma or Georgia. That would be my ideal scenario because I don't think they're going to make it into the top. It is possible, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think they need to be slated against somebody who might actually have something to prove and be a team that could beat them. I'd love to see Kyler Murray just shred them for 58 points, 59, 60 points. But
yeah, I would love.
If you're Danny White, what other than not being able to get in, what do you really want at this point? If you're Danny White, you would want to play LSU in that New Year's Day Bowl, know that you've got probably a 50-50 shot of winning that game, and then you can continue the storyline into another year. That's what you want. You don't want Kyler Murray in Oklahoma. So he's probably laughing his head off right now, loving every minute of it.
Yep.
But
so Ben, what you've asked our opinion. What's yours?
I say why not? I would love to see them in the 4 spot because I'm just not convinced that what we've said earlier in the season, there was no way they were better than some of these teams. I think that argument's been eroded. I'm not saying UCF's phenomenal. I'm just saying everybody else isn't that fantastic. And you know, I don't know that UCF is not better than Oklahoma and might be better. UCF on a good day might be better than Georgia on a really bad day. So why not give them that 4th spot and let them really see what happens when the rubber meets the road.
So let's just say real quick. Sorry, David. Let's just say real quick. Michigan could end up with it being a 2-loss team. Georgia plays Alabama, could end up being a 2-loss team. Oklahoma plays West Virginia, could end up being a 2-loss team. Washington State has to handle Washington, could end up being a 2-loss team. What's UCF ceiling if all of that happens? 5?
4.
Because 4 would. So you would say Ohio State behind UCF?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that
loss to Purdue is devastating.
Yep.
I think what you have to do here is, here you go, Ben. This is where I'm going to make you proud. You have to apply basketball thought to this. Purdue is a quadrant 2 loss, whereas UCF, I would put that win against Cincinnati a quadrant 2 win. Am I wrong, Ben?
Something like that.
You're beaming with pride over there. I see it.
I'm a proud papa. Dave knows what a quadrant is.
All right, so there's our polls. Kind of the roundabout way of talking about the polls. So now it's time to bring the picks. So Adam, how far up are you? Because I had a really good upset, but I also lost a really good upset.
Yeah, you closed the gap by 1, so I'm up by 4. I hate to say this, though. I'm pulling up the actual numbers now as we talk.
It's been close.
No, actually, the gap between us is still 5. I have 194. You have 189. Ben is back by 9 now.
Oh.
So he's got 180. So his his bullish predictions on some upsets last weekend cost him. And I have the lead and still have the tiebreaker. You guys are right on point with each other with the point tiebreaker, though. So if Ben can close the gap, who knows what could happen.
So I should just go for broke and pick the opposite of what Dave picks on everything.
You should pick chaos that leads to UCF being in a national championship at this point, yes.
Okay.
Do it, Ben.
Good. That's what I wanted to hear. Which... Are we ready to pick?
Do it, Ben.
Do it. Yeah, we're ready to pick.
Well, okay, here we go. Number 14, Texas, 8-3 on the season, traveling to take on the Kansas Jayhawks, 3-8 on the season. Who do you guys have?
Tejas.
Si, senor. Tejas.
I was really hoping you'd go with Kansas there, Dave. Are you sure you wouldn't want to reconsider?
Yeah, I'm positive. The Mad Hatter's not there yet.
And even when he is, it's Kansas.
So, Adam, your pick?
Tejas, senor.
All right, and I won't pick against you guys there. I got to hang with you in some spots. I'm going to take Texas on the road. Now watch Kansas win. Okay, speaking of UCF, they are 10-0, the reigning national champions. They're on the road at South Florida in the war for I-4. What's going to happen in this, guys?
What can I say? Go Golden Knights.
Don't ever say that again. I'm picking UCF, but I will not say that or charge on. Oh, I just said it. Dang it.
You did.
Okay, time to make up some ground. I'm going to go with South Florida. As much as I would like to see UCF in the Final Four because of the craziness there, it is time to pick against my foes. I am taking the Bulls because I'm feeling bullish for an upset.
And I hope you're right.
Upset special. All right, here's a pretty interesting matchup. Number 6, Oklahoma, on the road at number 13, West Virginia.
West Virginia was my pick until I saw what they did last week. I'm going to pick Oklahoma to win this time.
This time? Yeah, the line's only 2 points. I mean, that is tight. But I think Oklahoma's going to be too much for West Virginia.
I've got to go with West Virginia here. 1, because it's not what Dave picked. But 2, they've got the home field advantage. I think that works out for West Virginia. Also, nothing adds insult to injury and also just adds to general confusion, like Oklahoma beating Oklahoma State, then Oklahoma State beating West Virginia, and then West Virginia beating Oklahoma. That is That is the MC Escher diagram I've been longing for, so I'm taking the Mountaineers at home. All right, here's another good top 20 matchup. The Washington Huskies, number 16 in the land, taking on the great pirate himself, Mike Leach, and his number 8 Washington State Cougars. The Cougs are 10-1, guys.
The Cougs will be 11-1.
In another bit of chaos, they could make it into the top 4.
The Cougs will be 11-1. I got Washington State winning this game.
I'm going to go for broke and try to widen the gap a little bit, Dave. Line's only 2.5 points. Washington expected to have a better season than what they had. I think that they can play spoilers now for Wazoo, and I think they're going to be aiming for that, and I think they're going to achieve it. I've got Washington in this one.
I'm going to hang with Dave here and go with the Cougs because I think the passing attack is going to be too much for Washington. All right, number 20, Syracuse, licking their wounds after getting whooped by Notre Dame, taking on Boston College, a team recently beaten by Clemson. So both of these teams are trying to save face in the ACC. Who comes out on top?
You missed the most embarrassing loss by Boston College, losing to Willie Taggart.
Yeah, that's
Florida
bad.
State. I'm mad at Syracuse because they didn't show up. But Boston College is hurt. I'm going to go Syracuse in this one.
Yeah, I go Syracuse too. But boy, how the mighty have fallen. They were number 13. They lose one game, now they're dropped to 20th, and they're underdogs in this game.
They didn't just lose, though. They got
I know, but it's just like that was a fast fall from grace. But I've got Syracuse in this one.
Yes, I failed to mention Boston College falling to Florida State because both teams changed up their uniforms so much I couldn't tell which team was which. That was an incredibly confusing game. Both of you schools need to do better. I'm going to go with Syracuse because I always know who they are, even if they're wearing hideous orange uniforms. All right, here we go. This is one of the big ones. Number 4 Michigan taking on number 10 Ohio State. Both teams are 10-1. Who gets their second loss?
I've racked my brain about this all year. Michigan. Harbaugh gets that monkey off his back, and Michigan wins.
Is that your gut? Because that feels like just kind of like I finally have to pick one, so here we go.
Well, that's
yeah. I'm with you though.
Yeah, I've been leaning
you,
Michigan, but yeah.
Watching Ohio State lose the way they did to Purdue and then watching them struggle last week, they've just been so inconsistent. I think this is Michigan's year to finally pull it off, so I've got Michigan.
Both of you guys are going with Michigan. Everything tells me Michigan should be the team to get the job done. But sometimes coaches just have the favorable matchups against certain coaches. Urban Meyer's not healthy. I need to make up ground on you guys. I'm going to think this is a game that restores Urban Meyer's health, and Ohio State gets the win at home by just inches, just by a small measurement. Ohio State is going to get a spot win against Michigan once again.
Would this be a quadrant 1 win?
Yes, Dave.
All right, what's next?
Oh, yes, we need to pick something else. How about a game? How about a game taking place in Florida? Number 24, Pitt. Pitt climbing their way into the top 25, taking on Miami. Miami's 6-5, guys, after starting the season in the top 10.
Wow.
Is Pitt good? Is Pitt going to have a chance to give Clemson trouble?
I got Pitt winning this game.
Yeah, I have Pitt too. Miami just doesn't have it this year.
Nope.
But if anybody wants to come down here and go to the game, tickets are as low as $3. That tells you how the season's gone.
Wow.
That's amazing. I'm going to join you guys and pick Pitt to finish out the season strong. All right, Illinois taking on number 19 Northwestern. There's a team that wants to contend for a conference championship. Illinois is 4-7. Northwestern is 7-4. Who do you guys like?
Got to take Northwestern. I just can't believe they're ranked.
Yeah, they've made a good run of it. I got Northwestern too.
I will take the Wildcats as well. All right, Maryland, after giving Ohio State a run for their money, is 5-6 on the season. They travel to Happy Valley to take on number 12 Penn State, who's 8-3.
So there are rumors swirling that James Franklin could be wearing a red and gold color and playing in the Coliseum in California next year. There's also rumors swirling that Matt Canada could be coaching for the head coaching job at Maryland. I think players will play more for Matt Canada than they will for James Franklin. Mild upset here. I like turtles.
Oh, that always makes me laugh. Yeah, I'm going with Penn State here, though. I think Maryland gave it everything they had against Ohio State. I don't think they'll be able to do it 2 weeks in a row against a better team, so I've got Penn State.
Things are falling my way. Dave is giving me points to gain ground on him. I'm taking 12 Penn State to get the win at home. James Franklin's going to leave, but he's going to do it on a high note. All right, Kansas State taking on number 25 Iowa State. Kansas State has a losing record at 5-6. Iowa State is ranked with a 6-4 record.
Oh my goodness. I don't even know anything about both of these teams. Coin flip, Cyclones.
Yeah, I've got Iowa State too. All I know is their mascots, right?
Yep.
Iowa State is the much better team here. They've got at least a win over West Virginia working for them, but I also think they've got a good coach that's going to be looked at a lot of other positions. So I'm going to go with the Clones here to get the win. All right, number 3, Notre Dame, 11-0 on the season, taking on USC, who's 5-6. If USC's coach is out the door, doesn't Notre Dame win this one handily?
I see how you're using my logic against me.
It's all I've done this show, Dave.
I know.
Okay.
It's a rivalry game, though. Throw the records out the door. I really want to pull this trigger. I can't
Do it, Dave.
I just can't do it. Notre Dame wins, but it will be a very, very close game.
Yeah, I'm not even on the fence. I've got Notre Dame.
I got to go with the Notre Dame there. They won't be wearing pinstripes. That should even elevate their powers. All right, BYU taking on number 17 Utah. What's going to happen there?
Who cares? Utah.
Yeah, two teams are going to go on the field. A game's going to play, and nobody's going to watch it. Utah.
The Mormons will watch it.
I, for one, think this is a good rivalry game. Does it have national title implications? No. But when BYU and Utah get together, all of the classic rivalry cliches apply. You really can throw out the record books, and it makes a lot of sense for BYU to win this game. I would not be surprised to see the Cougars get the upset. But I'm picking the Utes, going with number 17. Oh, speaking of the state of Utah, here's a battle between two ranked teams. Number 21, Utah State, and number 23, Boise State. Who do you guys like?
Utah State.
I like neither, but I have to pick one. So I'm going to pick Utah State.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Utah State as well. All right, hey, how about some SEC games? Will that wake you guys up?
Yes, because there's some good ones.
That would be fantastic.
All right, how about some Egg Bowl action taking place on Thanksgiving? Number 18, Mississippi State taking on Ole Miss in Oxford.
Hey, Adam.
Yes, David.
Wake Blair up for this. Ole Miss.
Wow. Hotty toddy, gosh almighty. What the heck are you thinking? Yeah, I think after last week, they're going to come out ready to play because they had basically a game stolen from them. But I think Mississippi State's the better team. I'm going with the Bulldogs. Sorry, Blair.
This is really tremendous. Dave is doing everything to get me back in the game. I'm picking 18 Mississippi State and just gaining some more ground. Ole Miss cannot handle Mississippi State's D-line. All right, Arkansas taking on Missouri in what has to be the least exciting rivalry game in the final week of SEC play.
I will pick Missouri because that's what a lot of people will have watching this game. Missouri.
Sorry, guys. I'm staring at 2-9. I'm just in disbelief at Arkansas's record. But Mizzou, yeah, definitely.
You know, to cross the lines on Arkansas and between football and basketball once again, this is a prime example of where you fire your coach and you don't wind up with something better. Arkansas's 2-9. So just putting that out there for everybody to chew on. I got to go with Mizzou here. The passing attack is going to be strong. I think Mizzou's going to beat Arkansas by a comparable score to what Alabama beat Arkansas by. So look for that. All right, how about a game taking place a little bit closer to Adam? Number 11, Florida at Florida State. What's going to happen?
I think Dan Mullen will get his first win in this rivalry. Florida wins pretty handily.
Yeah, it would be great for Florida State to beat Florida and just watch mass chaos ensue in the entire state around me. But I think Florida's got this one in the bag with the way Taggart's been coaching the team this season.
Dave, who did you pick?
I picked Florida.
Okay, great. I'll go with Florida State just because I think I need to gain ground on Dave. And also I think Willie Taggart finally got his players to buy in after that win against Boston College. A little momentum goes a long way. Florida State at home, salvaging their season, fighting to be bowl eligible. They are going to be impassioned, and Florida State is going to get the win, and Dan Mullen's not going to know what hit him.
So real quick, before we move, this is turning into like Price is Right. Like Dave's bidding $2,000 and Ben's like 2001.
He tried that last week, or 2 weeks ago.
$1, Bob.
Fantastic.
Look, I'm like 9 points back in third place. It really can't get any worse. It can only get better. So why not gamble for it? Georgia Tech taking on number 5 Georgia. Bulldogs are knocking on the door of the playoff. If things go the right way, they could actually be in the top 4 going into the SEC championship if they get past Georgia Tech. Will they?
Yes. It's a triple option, but the only team in the SEC that prepares for it every year is Georgia. Georgia wins handily. Paul Johnson might be on his way out of Georgia Tech.
Yeah, I do hear that triple option. I hear it's difficult to prepare for, Dave. Have you ever heard anybody say that before?
I might have heard that a couple times.
Yeah, I think I might have heard that too. I think Georgia will win this one, though.
It is so tempting to go with Georgia Tech right now, and the triple option being one of the main reasons, and countering Dave is another. But at some point, I got to hang with Dave and get points where he gets points. I'm going to take Georgia as well. All right, Tennessee taking on Vandy. Both teams are 5-6. The winner of this game, the battle for Tennessee, will be bowl eligible. That's something to fight for, isn't it?
No, but Tennessee wins because I think that Pruitt has them on the right track. And according to Adam and CJ, I'm a Tennessee apologist.
You will sit here and say that Tennessee's on an upward trajectory, but you won't say it about Avery Johnson and Alabama basketball. You are a Tennessee apologist. CJ, I expect a blistering blitz call from you because he just proved it again. I have Tennessee, though. I think they're going to be too much for Vandy. But not because I'm an apologist, because I'm a realist.
Tennessee's bigger and stronger. I'm agreeing with you guys here and going with the Volunteers. All right, South Carolina could make the playoff very interesting. Not with them getting in, but with a massive upset of Clemson. Any way that happens, Clemson's a 26.5-point favorite.
Will Muschamp is still the coach at South Carolina. Clemson wins.
Yeah, Clemson. I mean, we might as well just all say it at the same time, right, Ben?
Right.
Gotta go with Clemson there too. I'm not insane. All right.
Well,
let's keep moving. Number 15, Kentucky. Number 15, Kentucky is looking at the potential of a top 15 finish. That's something to be celebrated. They're taking on Louisville, who is without a head coach after the firing of Bobby Petrino. Louisville's 2-9. There's no way they're getting their third win here, are they?
No. What are you talking about? They have a coach. It'll be Jeff Brom. Give me Kentucky.
He's not there yet.
I'm just going to have to come out and say it. I just won't be the coach of Louisville.
Yeah, I don't know if I would say that there's no way, because on any given Saturday, any team can beat another team, but it's not likely here, and I've got Kentucky.
I'm going to go with Kentucky as well. Are there any planes leaving Auburn to go talk to Bobby Petrino? That's what I want to know.
I hope so.
Number 7, LSU, 9-2 on the season, travels to College Station to take on number 22, Texas A&M, who's 7-4. Who do you guys like here?
I'm tempted. Really tempted. I think Texas A&M fixes our conundrum in the college football playoffs and pulls LSU out of the top 10. Give me a Jimbo Fisher quality win and a stamp for a good first season. Texas A&M.
That must be the power of the 12th man. 12th, Gary Danielson, 12th man. Because Texas A&M is favored and the golden voice of the Southeast is picking them. So maybe LSU shouldn't be number 7th after all. I think LSU wins this one, though.
Okay.
It's still November. I had to pull up my calendar and confirm that it was November. I thought we had somehow jumped ahead to Christmas because Dave is giving out presents again. I'm picking LSU, and I'm going to be in second place when we talk about this for the conference championship picks next week. Thank you, Dave. That was phenomenal. Those are your picks.
Wait, Ben, there's another game we got to talk about and pick.
There is? What game?
There is. And that is the big one. The one that this podcast revolves around.
No, wait. It doesn't revolve around it. We revolve around the other trophy. Because this game doesn't matter.
Excellent. Just like last year, where it did not matter. That's why I wasn't even going to include it in the picks, because it doesn't matter.
It doesn't. So we're going to introduce
But we'll pick it.
Okay.
We'll pick it.
Please.
Auburn.
Thank you.
Unranked on the season, 7-4. Taking on number 1, Alabama, 11-0 on the season. Bama is a 24.5-point favorite.
Let me throw some stats at you.
Dave's got stats, folks.
I got stats. Auburn's total defense, 36th. Their rushing defense, 43rd. Their passing yards allowed, 46th. Let's go over to Alabama here. Total offense, 3rd. Passing offense, 7th. Rushing offense, 30th. Scoring offense, 3rd. But the most eye-opening, Alabama has 5 wide receivers, 5 position players averaging over 18 yards per catch. Jerry Jeudy, Jalen Waddle, Henry Ruggs III, Irv Smith, and Devontae Smith. The Auburn defense allows 12.32 yards per reception. This isn't even going to be close. 50-10.
It's a bold pick, Dave.
Fantastic.
Not the win, just the points.
Yeah, I have how many words? 3 words. Tua, 4 quarters. I think he's going to play the whole game, no matter how much we're up against. I know we've got to prep for Georgia. I hope after last year we make a statement that this year is not going to be anything like last year and that we're going to roll all the way to the national championship game. This is the game to make that statement. I don't know that we'll see as much success because it is a rivalry game, so I'm hedging my points on our side down a little bit for that, but I've got 42-10.
Do you care? Do you care to try to gain ground on me here, Ben?
You know, it's tempting. Well, the way your picks have gone, Dave, I'm shocked you didn't pick Auburn because you've been picking so incorrectly on all of these other rivalry games. I thought you were going to go with the Tigers here, but you've left me no choice. I'm picking Alabama because I'm hanging with you. I can't just spot you points by picking the incorrect team. That's something you do. That's not something I do. So with that, I got to say, Adam, I admire your score prediction. I think it's pretty good. I'm going to actually give Auburn an additional field goal. I like Alabama to win this game 42-13. The key to this game, though, is staying healthy. You saw injuries happen like Deontay Thompson get injured in the Citadel game. Saban says he's fine. It's just a bruise on his leg. You've got to keep the secondary healthy and in this game, or this game could very much resemble the game from last year. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think Alabama's going to be healthy, Alabama's going to be focused, and Alabama's going to be ready to play. And that's why I'm picking the Tide. Unless Auburn comes out with the triple option, then I may have to reconsider. But I'm going with Alabama because that is how the Iron Bowl is going to roll this year. All right, now we truly have finished the picks. That is what we've got.
All right.
Now, this is the part where we'd normally drop in the sideline warnings. But Dave has got a little something else cooking for us. Dave, why don't you introduce that?
I got 2 something else's. First, we're going to do, there was a meme going around on Monday that I sent to everybody. It was, what's the guy's name? Steve Harvey on the Family Feud. These are the top 10 answers on the board of the excuses Auburn will use when they lose the Iron Bowl. Let's go around and just give 2 each. This could be comical. This could be real. But these are the excuses that Auburn will use if and when they lose the Iron Bowl. Ben, we'll start with you.
The first is the weather was really lovely, and Auburn just wasn't interested in focused on a football game. They were just enjoying the weather.
I like it. All right, Adam.
This will be a week where Gus flips back to being the villain, and he has the team going on a downward trajectory.
Oh, you're using our podcast notes.
See?
Okay, I like it. Well, this is kind of going to be using our podcast notes too. Well, Bama fan, we're a basketball school now. We're top 10 in basketball. We don't care about football. We are a basketball school. We are BOAs, basketball only Aubs. All right, Ben, give us your last one.
In a similar vein, not just being basketball only Aubs, the entire fan base is devastated by losing to Duke in basketball, and that has carried over. There we go. So I'm gonna add on to yours.
Okay.
Actually, I'll throw one more bonus one because this is my favorite Gus excuse. My favorite Gus excuse is we're real banged up right now. As if in the 12th game of the season, like any team is healthy in college football, nobody's healthy. But Gus, when he wants to make an excuse, the team is real banged up. So that's your Family Feud answer. Auburn's real banged up.
Go ahead, Adam. Hit us with your last.
I'm actually really proud of myself for this one. So I'm either about to be justified or supremely let down by your reaction. And this should be number one reason that Auburn gives, is that Alabama missed the field goal so bad we couldn't even run them back.
Oh, that hurts.
Adam will be serving a one-show suspension. Will not be with us. Will not be with us to pick the conference championship games next week.
Oh, that's how you're going to make up ground.
Thus, after I climb into second place over Dave's terrible picks this week, I will have an opportunity to go for the win next week in the pick'em. So everything's coming together swimmingly.
I would like to appeal my suspension. We'll talk after the show.
My final one is our check bounced when we tried to pay the SEC office and the referees.
There we go.
There you go. All right.
Broke like a joke.
The other one, and this we can say thank you to CJ, our good friend CJ. He gave us the idea. When we did Tennessee, we did, hashtag Tennessee hate weeks. It's been yada 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 since Tennessee's beat Alabama. Well, the things we do for Auburn is hashtag things I like more than Auburn. Let's keep it clean because there could be some bad ones. Let's round robin this one. Give me some hashtag things I like more than Auburn.
Waiting for 9 hours in an online waiting room for Hamilton tickets at the Dr. Phillips Performing Arts Center, only to never get in to buy tickets. Hashtag things I like more than Auburn.
How did I know that was going to be your first one, Adam? How's this one for you, Adam? Hashtag things I like more than Auburn. Florida Georgia line.
Wow, that's saying something.
We may have crossed the line there, Dave. It's November. It's kind of cold out right now. But in July, when you go get the groceries, and you're in a hurry, you're trying to gather everything up, and you don't see how things have shifted around in the trunk of your car. So you think you've got all the groceries, and it's the weekend, so maybe you don't go back to your car on Saturday, and like Sunday morning you're getting ready to go to church, and you get back to the car and you realize the milk has been in the car in July for about 36 hours. That's something I like more than Auburn.
Okay. I like it. This isn't near as good as yours, Ben, but this might be as bad as my Florida Georgia line pick. Things I like more than Auburn? The 2012 infield fly rule.
Ooh. Wow, that's that's saying something. How about election recounts?
Ooh, hashtag things I like more than Auburn. I like it.
I got one.
Okay.
Dave's basketball rants.
Oh,
that's something I like more than Auburn.
Wow. Oh, he likes you, Dave. He's
I know.
How about when you wake up at 2 a.m? This is for cat owners. When you wake up at 2 a.m. to that sound of your cat having a hairball in the middle of the living room. Ooh. Hashtag things I like more than Auburn.
This will only be for wrestling fans. And if you've watched any current wrestling, I think CJ's going to go with me. And a couple other guys are going to go with me. Brock Lesnar. Hashtag things I like more than Auburn. So I know y'all won't get it, but it's a big deal.
We got one more round?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go.
We got a couple more, I think.
It wasn't last year. It was a couple of years ago. I had something unfortunate happen, and that was on Thanksgiving weekend, the greatest weekend for eating. I don't want to be too gross here, but the weekend when you get to eat as much as you want to and get to try so many different things, and even if there's stuff you don't like, there's plenty of stuff you do like, and there's 1,000 different desserts. On Thanksgiving weekend, I got a horrendous stomach bug that stayed with me for 72 hours.
Oh.
And that is something I like more than Auburn.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah.
I have two more. I have one that since we're going a couple more rounds, I have one I made up and one I'm going to copy. But the one I made up is Porch Pirates on Christmas Eve.
Yep.
I don't even know what that is.
People stealing
pirate?
your Amazon package.
Yep.
What?
Yeah, there's a story actually out of Alabama where they were delivering it, taking a picture for Amazon verification to show they delivered it, and then they take it and put it in their trunk and drive off with it.
Yep.
Porch Pirates.
Yeah. What's your other one, Adam, that you're going to steal?
If Nickelback and Creed form a mega band and covered the song Christmas Shoes.
Oh, that's just... Oh.
If you haven't heard Christmas
I don't know.
Shoes, take a minute to listen to that one.
Ooh, I don't know. I don't know about that. I may actually like Auburn more than that.
No. I got a couple of quick ones, and then I'll do a long-ish one. Things I like more than Auburn. Alabama's new version of Dixieland Delight and them pumping in the fan sounds. Things I like more than Auburn. Things I like more than Auburn. Skip Bayless and Danny Cannell. Things I like more than Auburn. Tim Brando on Twitter.
Ooh. I wouldn't know. I can't see what he tweets.
Things I like more than Auburn. Tommy Tuberville. Because he doesn't.
Dang.
Yeah. All right, here you go. Here's my one that we can all agree with here because we all have beards. Things I like more than Auburn. When you finally, No Shave November is finally over, and you go into your drawer and realize that all you have left are razors that you've used for 4 or 5 days, and they have all those beard hairs still just sitting there in the blade, and it's kind of dull. And you go in there and you try to start shaving and the shaving cream just peels off and you get all that blood pooling up because you're pulling your hairs out. Yeah,
Dave,
I like that more than Auburn.
Oh, that was horrible.
Gosh. Hey, I gotta be honest. Before I experienced that, I would just go to Walmart and get some more razor blades. And shopping at Walmart is something I like more than Auburn.
I can one up you, Ben. Shopping at the McFarland Walmart at midnight is something I like more than Auburn.
Hey, that's just plain fun.
Which I had.
The one on Skyland, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So here's one I can one up, and this is a personal experience I had with one of the members of this podcast. Waiting at midnight at the Skyland McFarland for the worst Star Wars movie ever to come out on DVD.
Wow.
Adam.
Yeah. No, it's actually not DVD. We got it on VHS, Dave.
Oh, that's even worse. That's even worse.
Yeah. That was the year. That was the year after we waited. Not me and you, but me and someone else in Patey waited for Titanic to come out at the Blockbuster on VHS.
Oh,
yeah, we're old, man.
Why did you admit that?
We're old, dude.
Why did you admit that you waited?
Because we drove out of the parking lot with him hanging out of the passenger window of my car screaming, "I'm the king of the world!" It was hilarious.
Do I know this person?
No, I don't think so.
It's not Big Pat, is it?
No, it was not Big Pat.
Because that would be
amazingly
great.
enough, it was not Big Pat.
I could see Big Pat doing that. All right. So there is our hashtag, things I hate more than Auburn. And even though I thought we weren't going to do a sideline warning, both of y'all wanted to do a sideline warning. So go ahead, Ben, hit him with your sideline warning.
My sideline warning is pretty simple, and it is simply to say welcome back to Les Miles, back to the ranks of coaching. He's going to be the new head coach at for the Kansas Jayhawks. There's a school that wants to be good in football and basketball at the same time, so kudos to Kansas for their dedication to that cause.
I'm glad somebody does.
By Dave's standard, this means Kansas should be having a national championship here in the next 2 or 3 years because they hired a great coach, and it doesn't matter the state of affairs of where the program is. Kansas will now be a great football program in 2 years. But here we go. Here is Coach Les Miles talking about Thanksgiving, one of my all-time favorite Les Miles moments.
I am the easiest man to please when it comes to food. I have to be honest. I think it's definitely the turkey with a warm gravy. Maybe it's the last spoon or fork of food on the plate, that has a little bit of salt and pepper and maybe a little bit of the turkey and gravy and some of the stuffing that would be there, and maybe just a smidgen of that cranberry stuff, right? Not like that kind of overwhelm the last bite. But that right there, oh my goodness, right? That last bite's worth a lot. I might add that the turkey sandwich with mayonnaise, mustard, and onions, and a little salad, a little lettuce, kind of makes for good eating later too, doesn't it? Wish you hadn't mentioned that. I haven't had my lunch yet.
Welcome back.
It doesn't get any better than that, does it?
No, it doesn't.
I completely agree with him. The best part of Thanksgiving is that last bite that's got a little bit of everything in it. And with the way Les Miles was unceremoniously fired from LSU, I was worried he wasn't going to get that last bite. Kansas, you're giving this man a chance for a last bite. And just like the last bite at Thanksgiving, I hope Les Miles' tenure at Kansas has a little bit of everything in it.
Wow.
That's sweet. I would actually, instead of getting tickets to Hamilton,
like, that's sweet.
That's sweet. Instead of getting tickets to Hamilton, I think that Mike Leach and Les Miles ought to go on a speaking tour of just them sitting on the stage talking about things exactly like that. I would pay good money to see the two of them together.
Oh man, I would pay so much money for that. All right, Adam, give us your sideline warning.
Yeah, so mine is it goes back to something we were talking about off the air earlier, guys. But being in Florida and not having a lot of the Alabama stuff around me all the time. Iron Bowl week always got me pumped up to, especially when internet apps on the iPhone and stuff like that got it to where you could listen to the radio stations across the country and stuff. I used to always during Iron Bowl week listen to Feinbaum every day. And it was the only week where I really focused on doing that, and it felt like home, and always enjoyed that. And one of the things that we just talked about earlier, we got news of, is that one of the famous callers off of Feinbaum, Tammy from Clanton, died in a car wreck. And wishes and prayers for nothing but peace for her family dealing with this tragedy. But I think it's that having Feinbaum, having callers like that, people get so passionate about it like we do. That's really what makes college football fun for me. And I miss a little bit of that. I miss, people ragging back and forth and this is why I hate Auburn and Auburn Hate Week and all that stuff. It feels like some of that is gone. And I think that in the climate that we live in today, where politics divides us and everything makes us one side or the other, we've forgotten that we can rib each other about football and things like that without having to take it so personal. And I would hope that that's something that can come back, because being away from all of that, nobody really wants to talk about the Iron Bowl down here. That was always something I could look back to, and now he's on TV, so it's more accessible, but it's not quite the same, So just, thoughts and prayers for her family, but this has always been a special week for me. So I hope everybody goes out, rib your neighbors a little bit, rag on them a little bit, do some good-natured joshing back and forth and get on each other's nerves. But just remember, at the end of the day, guys, it's all for fun, and let's just enjoy it for what it is.
Amen. Did you just say joshing?
I did say joshing, but don't make it come to fisticuffs.
Oh, Lord.
I've had enough of your rambunctious tomfoolery.
All right, let me get us back to 2018. Mine's just going to be plain and simple. Guys, happy Thanksgiving. This is going to be kind of, I don't know, little on the girly side, the not manly side here, but I'm thankful for the two of you across the computer from me.
Oh, Dave. I'm
thankful that in my family's time of crisis a couple weeks ago, for those that didn't know, my baby had a fever seizure. She was in the hospital for a little bit. Ben was on his way up here. Both of you gentlemen truly cared about me. You truly cared about my family. Y'all were there for me. Y'all were there to comfort me. I truly am thankful for both of you gentlemen. I'm thankful for what this podcast has meant. We've been doing this for a year. I'm thankful for our listeners. We might not have the world's biggest listener base, but we have, in my opinion, the world's best listener base, because you interact with us. You enjoy listening to us. You let us know. You give us feedback on what we were doing. You let us know when we're right, when we're wrong. And even though I don't agree with you, BK, you come back at me and you still, like Adam said, we can disagree, but we still know we're having fun with it. Take time out the next couple of days, even if you're an Auburn fan friend, to say something you're thankful for that friend. But then after Thanksgiving, go back and ribbon them because, Auburn sucks. But anyway, truly, I am thankful for each and every one of you that listen to this podcast. I say it every week. It might be a catchphrase, but we truly do love you guys. We love you guys we're long-winded. We know it. But y'all take time out of your day to listen to us. My own wife doesn't do that. She says she hears me talking enough. But y'all truly take time out of your day to listen to what we have to say about sports. And that means a lot to us. This is something we do for fun. But the fact that y'all tune in every week to hear what we have to say and interact with us, that means a lot to us. So we are very thankful for you as the fans. And that's my sideline warning. Just thank you. We're thankful for you guys. But if you want to interact with us, if you want to tell us how right I am about being a fog and how right Adam is about being a fog, give us a call. Our Blitz line is open. Adam, what's that Blitz line number?
It's 931-44-BLITZ. And I just want to say for anybody that's called it before, I called it the other day just to make sure the message was still up and everything. You're going to hear something talk about Google Voice before you hear our message that says leave something for sideline warning. So when you dial it, it's going to ring a few times. You're going to hear something pick up and say something about Google Voice. It's legit, I promise. Once you get past that first step, it'll let you through, let you leave a voicemail. So don't be discouraged and don't think it's a scam.
There. Stay on the line.
Hang in there. You got it. 931-44-BLITZ.
That's it. Get us on Twitter. I'm at DAdams419. Ben at TheBenFoster. Adam is at RunTideRun. Follow Adam. He's quite comical when he gets mad. He'll go on Twitter rants. Like when he couldn't get tickets for Hamilton, it was very funny following him and the Dr. Phillips music hall or whatever it is. It was very comical. Follow the show at SW The Show. We're also on Instagram, also at SW The Show. Facebook, facebook.com/sideline or SW The Show. Sideline Warning Facebook fan group. And that's it. Guys, we love you. We'll see you guys next week. Roll Tide. And I'll leave you with the famous words of Squidbillies.
Yeah. Pizzle. Let's go, Ernie. I like driving in my truck. He likes to drive in his truck. Auburn sucks. Auburn sucks. I like driving in my truck. He likes to drive in his truck. All right. Auburn sucks. I like trucks. He likes trucks. I don't care for Auburn. He doesn't care for Auburn.
I don't really care about beating Notre Dame as long as we beat that cow college on the other side of the tape.
Like, I would have been okay. I would have been okay with you, like, getting fired up with me, like making a jab. But you got fired up just reading your own text messages. And I was like, I didn't even do it.
Dave's a sports journalist that uses himself as his only source.
Well, can you edit out where I say if it plays, Ben?
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
Just add that to my list of edits. Just kidding, I don't have a list.
Well, you should.
Who do I appeal my suspension to? I'm gonna go ahead. What?
I hereby lift your suspension.
Oh, thank you. I'll post on Facebook that this was my favorite episode yet.
You say that every week.
The only other thing that I want to talk about is a little update on my neighbor, the city of Cleveland. After he interrupted my call, it was a little bit rocky. I had to calm him down. And then, all of a sudden, the Indians announced that they were putting Corey Kluber and Carlos Carrasco on the trading block. And I had to talk him off his roof on that one, which he has a one story. It's probably like a 5-foot drop. But, I mean, hey, he could have sprained his ankle. I mean, ankle springs suck. But right now we're good. The Browns won the next week. And he just wanted me to tell you guys that, hey, I woke up feeling dangerous this morning. So look up that reference and you'll probably get it. So David Adams, buckle up, Buttercup. Roll Tide.
So guys, I've got a question. If I have a turkey, how long should I microwave it for? It's probably 18 to 20 pounds. Well, we'll just split the difference, call it 19, and it's not frozen. So how long should I microwave that turkey for?
You're at least as a good rule of thumb, you're going to want to leave the neck in and the little bag of giblets, leave those in, right? And it's going to be about an hour at about 80% power per pound.
I would have done 50%.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, anywhere between 50 and 80. I mean, really, it's going to be done in an hour per pound either way. Especially if you use the secret trick. The trick to a good microwave turkey is you stuff the entire cavity full of aluminum foil before you actually cook it. And that helps cook it from the inside out.
Yeah, that's the trick.
That's the trick.
All right.
Full aluminum foil.
That is premium advice. I'm going to go do that.
Awesome.
It works about as well as if you throw a frozen turkey into a deep fryer. It just flash fries it.
Yeah.
There we go.
Really crispy on the outside, completely raw on the inside. It's fantastic.